Welcome to Black Angus Reviews. I am Black Angus, here today to talk to you about SJW culture in the media, Kelly Tran, and the Valerie Jarrett tweet by Rosanne. So, I guess we'll start with the Valerie Jarrett tweet. I'm not really sure what her office is or was in the government, but of course it's well known now that Rosanne was supposedly on Ambien and tweeted something to the effect that she looks like Muslim Brotherhood mated with Planet of the Apes, or had a baby with them, the 68 movie. So I had an interaction on Facebook when that first went down. Someone shared a meme regarding that issue with the black racist character from Boondocks. And of course I shared a meme putting their pictures side by side, Jarrett and a chimp from Planet of the Apes. And of course he responded like, oh, stop that, that's not funny, and went on about how black people have been associated with monkeys and apes in history, and how it's like a very historic injustice to make jokes like that. And of course I'm black, so I get that. I get the history and whatnot, but if you can't let it go, we'll never move on, and it'll always be a thorn in our side. And what was eye-opening, I guess, with SJW culture for me in this interaction was, I made it clear, like, because I started getting essentially ganged up on by, I guess, I'm assuming family members of this guy and friends, and they pretty much surmise, oh, if this guy says, how are you friends with this guy? If he says things like this about black people in public, thinks what he says in private. And of course, I said, like, I'm black, but I didn't go along the lines they were, so I guess my race card was pulled. And eventually, I was defending Rosanne, saying that, well, she's a comedian, so you don't even know about that angle. But the fact that she got her job pulled out from under her because of a tweet, which supposedly she talked to Joe Rogan and said, like, I didn't know she was black. If I'd known that, I would have never made a joke ever tying her with any ape or monkey character or anything. So we all know the history of that, and if you're white, you're going to get crucified for saying that. It's definitely an ill-informed joke, given her being white, but I'm fine with it, and I had a good laugh because of it. I didn't even know who this person was in government until this tweet, so it actually kind of helped inform me, kind of like Family Guy or South Park. All right, but eventually, in the commentary on this meme I shared to this guy's, in response to this guy, it was surmised that words to these people are the same, these people being SJWs, not black or any minority specific, that words are the same as physical actions. And I just saw where this was going to go, so I just ignored it, didn't invest anymore, because these people clearly only have one track mind in this dialogue, which is very much leftist minded, not thinking about humor or anything. And it was just very eye-opening. Okay, so this brings me to the Kelly Marie Tran issue. Okay, so she recently deleted her Instagram, and it's not been reported on by her or her agent or Lucasfilm as to why. We do have a previous track record of another actress on Star Wars, Daisy Ray, who deleted her Instagram and reported herself to the media, saying that when she did it, it was because she was just, essentially she had no anonymity, she had no privacy, she was growing up in front of people and had no breathing space, essentially, so she just wanted to elicit some freedom from the public. Okay, but given that Solo has bombed, Scientist Man on regular media surmised that they needed to make about $600 million after budget, reshoots, advertising, and box office cut. They should have made at least $600 million to break even on this venture, maybe even more. Of course, they're only at, I think, about $350 million after 3 or 4 weeks. So yeah, it's a huge bomb. It's the only financially unsuccessful Star Wars to date. It's very much in large part to the soycott, which initially was refuted as vocal minority, that they didn't matter. It's just a bunch of white, male, fat neckbeards who hate women and hate minorities, etc. So yeah, we actually have no release of information from Tran or Lucasfilm, and recently reported by Geeks and Gamers. Boyega's been coming to the defense and saying, oh, we don't care about your opinions and this and that. And it's like, well, you'll care when you don't get our money for all the various injustices to the fandom at large with this new trend in Star Wars at Lucasfilm. So yeah, this whole thing with the SJW media, Star Wars, I followed a lot. Comic Artist Pro Secrets is a great tool to follow this. He reports on it multiple times a day, showing you point blank on his camera the articles he's reading and citing from, and just commenting on them and having fun, listening to super chats. He's pretty funny, so you should check him out. Sorry, I'm taking a look at my notes real quick. But yeah, so this reminds me of a couple pieces of film. So in 2014, there was this movie on Netflix by David Cross called Hits. Don't think it was very successful, although it had a good run at the indie circuit. And it has two plots that really reflect society. One being Matt Walsh, a semi-regular comedian in film. You might confuse him with Louis C.K. if you don't see him a lot. He plays this disgruntled town member who keeps going to town hall, trying to get them to fix potholes all over his town. One of them he has to dip into to get into his driveway. And he has a bunch of YouTube videos of people taking him ranting at City Hall about this topic. And so these hipsters in New York find it, and they get this rally around him, essentially financed to essentially assault Town Hall to make sure he's heard. So they all venture up north to Liberty, New York, make sure that he has a platform to speak without being timed or whatnot and being thrown out by security. And it's a great lesson in, doing background on something you're reporting or someone you're trying to take up for. So you need to know the full scope of a person before you back them up on an issue, at least potentially. And so this guy, instead of just talking about potholes, he ends up ranting about, I think he called Obama or the administration fag lovers. He says a bunch of other hateful stuff. I think he calls them the N-word. And it's just very jaw-dropping moment in this movie, because you're like, oh wow, I did not see that coming. And of course it shocks the audience in the town hall, all the people supporting him, because clearly it's a betrayal of the intent they had in supporting this guy. And that reminds me, and how it kind of ties in with the SJW culture in the media lately, reminds me of another piece of films, The Chappelle Show. His skit with Clayton Bigsby, the blind black Klans leader. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. Just look it up, Clayton Bigsby, Chappelle Show. Essentially, this reporter is interested and finds him, and is surprised to find Clayton Bigsby, this somewhat famous Klan writer, fictitiously, is a blind black man. And he finds out that he was born blind, and they just helped him assimilate by telling him he's white. And it's really funny. You follow him, he's telling the reporter why he hates black people. He's published 4 books, but made 6. One of the titles is, I don't like saying it, but it's called I Smell Nigger, just to give you an idea of what this character writes and what makes him famous at Klan rallies. It chronicles his day, essentially, with this assistant who knows he's black but is trying to protect him. And he's getting gas, and Bigsby's lifted out of the truck, and these white guys are kind of harassing him, saying, oh yeah, better watch yourself, boy, and all this stuff. And Chappelle's character thinks there's another black person around. He's telling him to fuck off. And then he sees some white guys. He doesn't see him, he's blind, but they drive by some white guys playing rap in their convertible, and he tells them, turn that music off. Try to avoid racial slurs. I'm black, I don't like saying the N-word. I wasn't raised with that. And they think it's a compliment getting called the N-word, because they're into wigger culture. So I think it's very validating. And of course he goes to this rally and says all this hateful stuff about Condoleezza Rice and Asians and black people and whatnot. And they get him to take off his Klan hood, and they end up seeing his face. He's black. and someone's head blows up. People are vomiting. People are just like sickened at who they've been following, and it's really a breathtaking piece of film. It's really a breathtaking piece of social commentary, really showing why, how physical, racial, or whatnot identity is pointless. It really matters how you're raised. I'm sure there could be a lot more said about that skit, but I love it because of that. And it reflects on the culture now, where it's like, oh, well, you're black, you must vote this way. So you get people attacked like Candace Owens or Kanye, who just appreciates her viewpoints not fitting the essentially regulated viewpoints that black people are supposed to have. And you can put this on any political commentator who doesn't fit their minority rhetoric that the not even liberals but the left has generated for years, or they'll pull your race card essentially. So yeah, it's really I get, just to be quick, I think, maybe wrong, but I think that Clayton Bigsby skit kind of reminisces with Jungle Book, and how Mowgli thinks he's a wolf, but they have to teach him the hard fact that he's a man cub, and he has to live like that. Yeah, I just wanted to open up some dialogue about SJW culture, and I'd like to hear in the comments any of y'all's interactions, not with liberals, not with people that may not agree with you if you're a conservative, because I kind of fit in the middle with a lot of issues, so I don't really pick a side, pick a topic, pick a side. But yeah, so not if you've interacted with liberals who disagree with you, but are willing to have dialogue. But I'm talking about SJWs, people who make everything about race or identity, and that's supposed to surmise who you are or how a people act, and who more or less try to shout you down or silence your thoughts. People that, if you did vote for Trump, I don't vote, so I'm not guilty of that, left or right, but people that might screen you as a friend if you voted for Trump or show any conservative ideology. Those are what I'm talking about when I talk about SJWs, and how they're kind of infecting the media as of late, especially with Star Wars. So yeah, be sure to comment below any of your interactions like this. May make this a fairly semi-regular thing to talk about. Be sure to like and subscribe and share, help the channel grow if you're interested in other things I've talked about. Check out the Facebook page, Black Angus Reviews. I like to share a lot of interesting stuff that the channel's concerned with on there. Film, philosophy, and the NFL. And there's also a Facebook group that you can join, which I try to share more funny stuff concerning that. Sometimes it won't. It'll be like a recent Alex Jones video that someone made. It's pretty funny. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed. Can't wait to see the commentary we have, the dialogue we have in the comments. I'm Black Angus. Have a great night.